It's game day, baby! We are ready. We're ready to roll. TexasRadio.net, Billy's.live, triple header today. Starting off here with Coffee with Coach at Barefoot, 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. Come on by here. You've got an hour to get by here, have some coffee from the Java Ranch, also some muffins as well. If not, stay right here, streaming live, like I said, at Billy's.live, TexasRadio.net. Volleyball around 5 or so tonight. Billy's taking on Llano. We'll have that for you. And then, of course, homecoming tonight for the Fredericksburg Battling Billy football team. And we'll have that for you as well. So a triple header. Gonzalez in town tonight. We're going to talk more about that coming up right after these.
ValueMed Pharmacy is Fredericksburg's pharmacy. By putting our customers first, we've earned a sterling reputation as the premier provider in town. With free home delivery, convenient location, and a speedy drive-up window, getting your medications has never been easier. ValueMed offers competitive pricing and accepts most prescription insurance. We're located at 707 North Llano Street, or give us a call at 830-997-8155. Come see why ValueMed Pharmacy truly is Fredericksburg's pharmacy.
Gaddy's Pizza in Fredericksburg is a huge supporter of Battlin' Billy sports, students, and teachers. In fact, Gaddy's offers a lunch special for teachers and students Monday through Friday for only $6.99, and that includes a drink. Gaddy's Pizza also has pasta, dessert, and one of the best salad bars in town. Enjoy the game room. Kids of all ages love it. Gaddy's takes pizza seriously. 2931 Highway 16 South in Fredericksburg. Billy Pride Iberales.
Howdy, Dow Floyd, ex-Battling Billy, class of 1980, Senior Vice President of Texas Hill Country Bank here in Fredericksburg. We're proud of all our local sports programs. We want all teams to have a safe and successful year. Be physically and mentally prepared, be creative, and enjoy the game. That's how we work around here, helping local businesses and individuals accomplish their financial goals. If you need assistance, our team is here for you. Texas Hill Country Bank, where good people make good bankers. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Have you ever been confused by all the options in the investment world? Or maybe just need someone to sit down with to discuss your goals? Why not schedule some time with Scott Emmel or Mark Southard at SI Wealth Management? Whether it's as simple as rolling over a 401k or starting a college savings plan, or an efficient way of transferring wealth to future generations, identifying the need is the key to identifying the strategy. Call 830-992-3464 to schedule your appointment today. SI Wealth Management, where a handshake and a look in the eye still means something.
Here we are, 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. Get your Battling Billy gear right here. Got a lot behind Coach and I here.
Yep, got some good stuff. Had some people email and text about hats this week, and certainly I sent them over here. So here we go.
You bet. I had to get me a new decal.
Oh yeah.
My Rockin' F was faded.
Oh yeah.
So I got a new one yesterday.
We've been doing that so long, so that's good.
I am set. I am set. Coach Lance Moffet, of course, the athletic director, head coach of the football team, live here from Barefoot 108 East Main, along with yours truly, JD Rose. Coach, what a start to the 2020 season.
Yeah.
109 points for, if my math is correct, 34
correct.
against.
Correct. Yeah.
Big 54-14 win over Gerald. I bet it feels pretty good to be 2-0 and starting off the season like that and just dominating.
You know, it feels normal. How about that?
There you go.
It feels normal. That's good when being 2-0 feels normal. Certainly normal in terms of back to a routine, back to what the fall's all about, back to what public schools have to offer our kids and what's going on. But yeah, it's certainly grateful to be 2-0. You know, we could be 0-2, so 2-0 is obviously better, and couldn't be more pleased with the way we're playing. I mean, 109 points and giving up 17 a game or whatever, and playing really well on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
And a lot of those points are coming when you have the reserves in. So really, if you break it down, first defense versus the other team, you know, we're probably less than 7 points a game, really and truly. So that's you know, that's a good way to start for sure. You know, and
both the offensive line,
yeah.
offensive line and defensive line, just working their tails off.
Yeah, you know, it all starts up front. It's cliche, I guess, coach speak, if you will, to talk about the guys up front. But if you're not good in the trenches, then you have to be really, really, really good at the skill positions. You know, sometimes you can be really exceptional at the skill positions and not be as good up front and still win games. But when you're really good up front, it gives you the opportunity to do a lot of things, and if you have some exceptional skill kids behind them, then it makes it that much better. And I think, you know, we're figuring out that maybe that's who we have a chance to be. I'm certainly not going to predict that that's who we are yet, but our skill guys are doing their part, and it's all starting up front with the linemen on both sides of the ball. Those guys are amazing. I'd love to name them. Caleb Alfers, AJ Jaimez, Zach Webolding, Matthew Groby, Austin Simpson, and James Sabera on the defensive front, doing a super job for us. And then on the offensive line, Colby Wright, Rusty Price, Derek Whitworth, Yordi Hernandez, and Davis Englert, with David Suarez doing a little bit of rotating in. And, you know, those kids never get any love. Everything they do is behind the scenes. Nobody sees what they're doing right on every single play. Certainly our fans got a great display. We ran a screen pass right in front of our bench to score a touchdown, and you see those three linemen leading Gavin French into the end zone, and that is solid gold work by your offensive line and in front of your home crowd. And I mean, it was just it's a cool deal. The flip side of that is playing offensive line is like playing cornerback. I think I said this last week. When you mess up, everybody in the stadium knows it was your fault. You know, when the quarterback gets sacked, or you jump off sides, or you get beat deep if you're playing corner, then everybody in the stadium, people that don't know football, know that it was your fault. And so those guys are definitely unsung heroes, and what they do on almost every play goes unnoticed.
How about the linebacker corps doing the great job as well? I mean, it just,
you know,
just across the board.
And that's, you know, something that I'll say I think is a carryover from the thing we established defensively last year. Dominating up front defensively allows your linebackers to be really, really good. Because they're not getting blocked. You know, football is pretty easy if you're not getting blocked. I mean, you know, and the whole idea of our front is for those front guys to draw the block so that the linebackers can run free and make plays. And so certainly think you see that. Logan Metzger and Gary Seidenberger are both playing exceptional inside. You got Gavin and Zub and Trip Dennis and a host of others rotating at the outside linebackers, doing a good job as well. So, you know, it's a cool way to start. It's fun to be home. It was, again, I can't reiterate the point of how great it is to be normal. You know, the spring break that would never end right. has finally ended, I think. You know, and so that's awesome. You know, and it was great to be at home. You know, I thought our fans did an exceptional job. I know that's one of the things we're going to talk about later. But the last thing we did as a Billy family on March 5th or 6th or 4th or whatever day it was, I forget what day that Friday was, but y'all were there and we were all there, was the state basketball tournament with the girls. And what a display of our culture and who we are and our community and what we do and what we're about to do that. And what a great way to have started the longest spring break in the history of mankind. But what a better way to come back and get back to normal than to have a home football game.
But you're right,
Friday
it
night.
all ended. We're in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
It's packed.
No, I mean, it was,
and then all of a sudden, just the plug.
It's over.
We're unplugged.
Yeah, we're unplugged for a while. And I've talked about this a lot. I think we talked about this, you know, during the COVID on the Fredericksburg Live thing is, you know, everything we do is about being together. And for all of this time, we've been not able to be together. And so what an exhibition it was to be together as a Billy family. So yeah, I couldn't be more proud of what we did. And our special teams were good too. We talked a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense. Special teams were exceptional. Coach Riley, shout out to him. He's doing a super job. Coach Flicks kind of helping me help Coach Riley on the field. So I'm feeling a little more involved this year because I'm actually getting to do something that matters in between the offense and the defense that helps get the kids lined up and gets them going. So I'm feeling a little more engaged. I appreciate Coach Riley for that. But those kids are taking that serious. I mean, we got to, when you score 54 points and 55 points, your kickoff team gets pretty good because you get to practice it a bunch. In fact, Saturday we made the comment that we probably don't need to practice kickoff team this week because we did it. We did it however many times we had to do it both nights. So if we don't know how to kick off, then we're not paying attention. So it was good.
Well, how are the protocols going to say with the ticket concerns and how is all that playing out?
I think it went exceptional. Shout out to I gave Christy Moore a new title this year. I'm hoping that at some point I can convince the school board and the superintendent that we need to give her more money. So I'm trying to give her a title. That's how things work in schools: is you give somebody a title and then now they get more money. So I gave her the title of Director of Game Operations, and that's a big title, and that's what she is. And she's done that. Yeah. The entire time she's been working for us, and her predecessor Sybil Blackwell did that, and she learned, and it is a fluid process. But this year, it is completely different, and she is such a servant. She wants to help everybody, and we can't, and it's very frustrating for her, and it's frustrating for me that we can't. We got 1,400 season ticket holders. I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face, who we honor and we value and we appreciate them and we want them back in the stadium, but they're not going to get to come back this year. They're going to have to get general admission tickets just like everybody else. And so, I thought our fans did good. I was really nervous, just because we were afraid that people didn't get the word. We were afraid that people didn't know and that people were going to show up with cash and want to buy a ticket and get in and all that stuff. And really, there was very little of that, first and foremost, because I think we did a good job. The Standard, you guys, all our media outlets helped us get the word out on that. And so I think our people knew what was expected and what was going on. And then, when I came out of the tunnel, or came out to go through the tunnel, send the kids in the tunnel, I got a little nervous because our home side looked almost normal, and what you couldn't see from the field was that there was a gap between every row.
Right.
And then as I looked with a little more expedition, I noticed that this was a family group, and then 6 feet away was another family group, and then 6 feet away, and I looked, and most of them had on their masks, and so I started to feel a little more comfortable, because I think we talked last week a little bit about some of the other schools, particularly two in our district, kind of got in trouble for their protocols that they had the first weekend. And so you're really worried about that. You're under a microscope because everything's live streamed. Shout out to Billies.live for doing all this. But that also brings a bigger level of attention to what we're doing. And unfortunately in our business, it's not just during COVID, but in our business, everybody wants to point out everything we're doing wrong rather than all the stuff we're doing right.
You mean there's armchair quarterbacks for everything?
Well, and I think that's human nature. I think that's sin. I think that's deceitfulness. I think that's whatever. And so that's normal for what we do. But in these times, you're scared to death that somebody's going to shut you down. And the UIL threatened sanction.
I was going to say that.
They said, if you're not going to do this stuff, we're going to sanction you. And so all week I had a heightened awareness of that, and Christy and I worked through all the problems, and back to her and her servant's heart. We want to accommodate everybody that wants to get in that game, and we don't want to just let players get 2 tickets, and we don't want to let cheerleaders' parents just get 2 tickets and all that. That's not what we want. We want that thing to be standing room only, packed, where nobody can move and all that stuff. And until we get back to that, we're going to continue to do it the way we have to do it. And so yeah, all of that stuff went great. I couldn't be more proud of Christy and her staff. I mean, it takes a monumental effort just to get people in the stadium. We have all these people working. They're all showing up on time. They're all learning how to use technology that they had never used. They're all using an iPad now at the gate instead of taking a ticket, instead of having a little apron on with ticket stubs in it. Now we're going on the iPad and we're using a QR code, and I don't even know what all that is. So it was really good, and I thought it went well, and I think it's going to be better this week. I right before we came over here, looking at the tickets, I think we're going to have a sellout for general admission tickets
Homecoming.
tonight.
Yeah,
I
homecoming.
think the only tickets are going to be available. Hope everybody's watching, listens, and hears this. The only tickets that are going to be available to the public are going to be those on the visitor side, and that's something I think that people don't know. They can buy those visitor tickets, and last week, Gerald, they bought less than 50 tickets. So there was 625 seats on the visitors side that we could have put more people, and you know, that's not traditional sitting on the visitor side, but you're getting in the game.
Yep, get to go to the game. Yep.
It would be cool if we could fill up the rest of the visitor side with our fans, and certainly that causes a little bit of an administrative problem for Dalen Kirchner and Joe Gonzalez and our administrative team to figure out how we're going to monitor our fans on that side and keep them from intermingling with the other fans and all that stuff. But I said in the paper this week, I think it's a testament to our community. I think in my mind I was worried about all the bad things, again, sin, deceitfulness, human nature, worried about the bad things that are going to happen rather than focusing on the fact that our community is a very respectful community and the people in our community want us to play, and they did what we asked them to do, and it was awesome. And I think it was, I couldn't ask for a better
hats off,
better night, and thank you to them for adhering to our protocols.
Well, back to the game against Gerald. What are some of the highlights, lowlights, areas of improvements? But I mean, it just looked really good to me.
Right. And you didn't get to watch the film, but you're good. No, just when you're like us and you crave football all the time and you want to watch that film over and over and over, and certainly you try to critique the most minute details, and so certainly we have plenty to work on. But the highlights, I thought we did a superior job on defense from start to finish. We shut them down. Special teams, first play of the game, we get a 65-yard return from Cade Yinsky, sets us up with great field position. And then we kind of laid an egg on offense on that series. They kind of hit us in the mouth a little bit, and we didn't get going on that series. Took a shot on fourth down, tried to hit Judd on a little corner route and kind of overthrew him and got a little pressure on Cole. And so that wasn't a great series for offense. But then the defense comes out and just totally dominates them and shuts them down, and they give us the ball back right there. So we get the ball back right where we had it to start. So it was almost like Cade's kickoff return. We got to do it over. We got kind of a do-over on that deal. So on the first play of that, we run a little play and hit Judd on a touchdown, and now it's on. So now we're going to kick off to them, and then we shut them down again, and force them to punt, and their punt game struggled quite a bit. In both games they've played, and so we knew they weren't going to be great on their punt team. So we were able to use their special teams to our advantage in terms of the punt game, and we had a short field almost the entire first quarter. So it was really good. We knocked out 21 points in the first quarter, and then I think we scored 40 in the first half, and and they put together a good drive, and we knew they could. We talked all week about their speed and their talent and their skill.
Yep.
And they put together an awesome drive. I mean, it was, I don't know, I didn't count exactly how many plays it was, but in my mind it was 13 to 15 plays, and they just kept getting first downs. They just kept, and we've said a bunch in this show that if you want to win a football game, you got to keep the other team's offense off the field, right? You got to keep the ball. I mean, you got to keep their, you got to do what they did. You got to keep the ball and control the clock so that they're not getting their chances. And they did that for that one series, and we just couldn't find a way to get off the field. And so certainly we got to figure that out. I mean, me, I'm always yelling at the officials, and this week I took my mask off a few times so they could hear me, because they were holding us on every play of that series. They kept getting outside of us, and they're holding on to our defensive end. At one point they pulled one of our linebackers from behind. They pulled his jersey from behind and pulled him down to keep him from making a tackle. So, and of course they don't ever see that. So you gotta do your job and make sure that they understand they need to be paying attention to the game. So, but they scored on that, and then we just, from then on out, we just kind of shut them down, and I thought Coach Huff and Coach Gibbs and the offensive staff had a great game plan to counter what they were trying to do on defense. Coach Wilder and his crew had a superior way to fit all the things they were trying to do, and for the most part we did it. Now certainly, you get into the minute details, there's lots of things we can get better at. We still got to do a better job of tackling and blocking and running to the football and taking care of the football and doing the little details better, and you know, I think we improved in the penalty game. I think the first week we outnumbered Monahans in penalties, and this week they certainly had more penalties than we did. So that was all good stuff. It was an overall good game, and just proud of the way they played, and hopefully we can take that to the next step.
Good to have that confidence,
Yeah.
building up confidence every week, and hopefully
No
the
doubt.
same will happen this week against Gonzales for homecoming. We're going to talk about the players of the week coming up here in just a little bit. We're live at Barefoot 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. Come on by here. Got a lot of cool stuff in this store, and
Good stuff, and
including the Battling Billy gear. Look at this. Even got something for the little ones. Yeah, like that. But
Definitely got some good stuff.
you bet. So come on by here, 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. We'll be right back. Coffee with Coach coming up.
Strayer Dolphers has been going strong since 1928. They specialize in tires and tire repair. Name brands like Michelin. Strayer Dolphers also offers dependable wheel balancing, alignment, brake repair, tune-ups, oil changes, engine service, belts, and hoses. You get the picture. Also check out the Kawasaki Mules, ready to go to work for you. Strayer Dolphers proudly serving Fredericksburg and the Hill Country for 92 years. Stop by at 509 South Adams or call 830-997-4382. Check them out online, StrayerDolphers.com.
When you have an accident in that vehicle you rely on, there is peace of mind in the Hill Country. Lance's Body and Paint, they offer all types of collision repair. They work with all insurance companies. Lance's Body and Paint is iCar certified, so you know you're getting the latest repair technology in Fredericksburg and in the Texas Hill Country. Lance's Body and Paint, Highway 290 East in Fredericksburg, supports our Fredericksburg Battlin' Billies. Call 830-990-2900.
This broadcast is copyrighted by Billy's.Live for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast, pictures, or depictions of this event without the consent of Billy's.Live is prohibited.
Bee Creek Communications is celebrating 20 years of connecting the Hill Country, 20 years of scaling towers, climbing roofs, installing networks, wireless broadcasting, timely responses, friendly service, technical support, expanding coverage, increasing speeds, keeping promises, providing our community with always-on high-speed internet. Bee Creek Communications, celebrating 20 years of serving you.
Touch Well Service will take care of all your water well needs that come after drilling. They specialize in water pump installation and repairs, servicing windmills, solar pumps, jets, submersible pumps, and pressure tanks. Touch Well Service has been in business since 2002 with 83 years combined experience. Their entire staff is dedicated to their customers. Touch Well Service supports all men and women in the United States military and first responders. Touch Well Service, 830-997-2413. On the web, hillcountrywaterwell.com, and look for them on Facebook.
We're back, Barefoot 108 East Main, Fredericksburg.
Yep.
Players of the week
Yep.
for week 2. Who we got?
Yeah,
Coach?
players of the week, week 2. So we always start with the JV and the freshman. Our JV, we have 5 players of the week, right? And we always love this, the 5 offensive linemen.
Bam.
They did a great job last week. Cade Laney, Adon Rivas, Clayton Curl, Logan McCarver, and Ben Suarez. Being an old ex-O-line coach, that has a place in my heart when those guys get nominated by their coaches and nominated to be the players of the week. So it wasn't even close. The coaches didn't even, there was no discussion. They knew that those guys had done a good job at Gerald last week, and so glad that those guys got recognized. And our freshman player of the week, number 22, Drake Threadgill, kid that played his tail off last week and did it again last night. And it's great coaching when you have a good athlete. We moved him from playing running back to wide receiver, and turns out that he's a really, really good wide receiver. And so maybe it took us too long to figure that out. I don't know. But since we've moved him there, he's now catching balls down the field and doing a great job playing that position. So those are the freshman and JV players of the week, and really proud of them and anxious to see what they're going to do next week. Varsity players of the week, special teams, I already mentioned Cade Yinsky had the big return. Kind of sparked us, and he's kind of a go-to guy. He's a two-way player, so we try to pull him off some of that. But the thing about Cade is versatile is what I would say to him. He's also a cross-country runner. He ran in yesterday's cross-country meet. And plays basketball, and I mean, he's just a versatile athlete. And so we see that on the field when he plays special teams. He also, plays a little bit outside linebacker, safety position. Corner. Plays corner. He used to play outside linebacker. We moved into corner, and then he plays, a slot receiver, running back position on offense. So he's very versatile, and we use him on kicking game. And really, when you have the first kickoff of the game, and you get a 65-yard return, I mean, that kind of sets the tone for what's fixing to happen, right? So you're like, okay, we got this, we're good. And so he kind of got the momentum going our direction, and so for that he got named Special Teams Player of the Week. Defensive Player of the Week, Javi Rodriguez had 2 more turnovers. And I'm sorry, we had 2. He had one of them. James Sabera had the other one. But Javi is a gamer, man. He's a gamer, and I couldn't be more proud of him and how hard he worked. He had a natural growth spurt, so he got a little bit bigger. He got a lot stronger. He got a lot more explosive, and you can see on the field the transition he made from his sophomore year to his junior year. And so very proud of him, and he's becoming just a dynamic, explosive player on both sides of the ball. So, and he had an exceptional night on defense. And then Offensive Player of the Week, I think he got all the attention in the newspaper this week. And the cool thing I love about this kid, Gavin French is the Offensive Player of the Week. Scored 4 touchdowns last week, and was it's a cool thing. He's a rodeo guy, right? He's a bronc rider. He's tough, hard-nosed. Someone likened him to Walt Garrison. People don't even know who Walt Garrison is, right? But played for the Dallas Cowboys. Was a cowboy.
Walt Garrison,
He was a cowboy before he became a cowboy. Like, he was a real cowboy before he became a football cowboy. And that's kind of who Gavin reminds us of.
Randy White was kind of that way.
Randy White
of course,
was that
I don't
way
think he
too.
rode broncs, but
right. So Gavin, Gavin's a tough kid. He ran over some people. He outran some people. He ran the screen pass, and that's what Speaking of Cade and Gavin both being versatile, he can do the finesse part of our offense when he runs a screen pass, but he can also stick it in the middle and put his head down and run over somebody if he needs to, and that's kind of an old school, mindset. And so he got Player of the Week for that, and couldn't be more proud of him. But more importantly, he's team captain. He's a leader, and he understands how this game works. And service leadership is what we try to promote in our program. And the first week when we play Monahans, him and Cole Immel bring pancakes to the linemen for team breakfast. Like, they got up early to make pancakes for their linemen. And instead of eating a taco like everybody else, the linemen, and they like to eat, so this is good for them, they got a taco and they got pancakes the first night.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I was a lineman, I'd rather get food than a watch.
No question.
Didn't they used to give out watches or something? Is there do people wear watches anymore?
Some of those NFL guys do that. There's been much ado about Tom Brady taking care of his linemen and all that stuff. But that's the whole point, is that Gavin and Cole recognize how important those guys are. Absolutely. And so this week they brought donuts and so forth.
That's awesome.
So that represents the kind of leadership that we want in our program, and we appreciate Gavin for doing that.
Hats off to him, right?
Yeah, great job.
Good stuff.
No doubt.
Good
No
stuff.
doubt. No doubt.
Well,
Really
how did
good
the
stuff.
sub-varsity come out last night?
So we went 5-1 last night. We played 6 games. We got our middle school rolling last night. That's always quite the adventure. The first middle school game when kids, have never played, especially for 7th graders, when they've never played school football. Certainly they've played football in Rams and whatever, but it's different at school because you're getting out of school early, maybe to travel or you're whatever you're doing, and so the first game is always exciting for those guys and exciting for the coaches, and so to be part of that, and I got to be part of that yesterday. We have 3 new middle school coaches, and so they haven't acquired their CDLs to drive a bus yet, and the 2 coaches that stayed on at the middle school were in the process of getting their CDLs. When we hire somebody, it's a condition of employment. They have to get their CDL. Certainly if they have a physical condition or whatever, we're not going to exclude them from employment. And you have to be physically fit to drive a bus. That's part of the deal. You have to pass a physical every year and all that stuff. But the two guys who were getting their CDL last year, who were new to coaching, when COVID happened, they weren't able to finish their CDL. And so we get ready to come back to school, and we look up, and we've got 5 middle school coaches, and nary a one of them can drive a bus. And we've got like 4 or 5 road games. And everybody's looking at me like going, okay, how are we going to get there? Well, here's the answer right here. So myself and Coach Wilder yesterday got to escort and drive the 8th graders to their first game in Gonzales. And certainly Gonzales is 2.5 hours away, if anybody didn't know that. So that was quite the trip, and it was fun. And they had a good time, and they played really well. The white team for 8th grade won 20-0. They scored. A little disappointed because I didn't know, and I hope our fans that were there that were mad about this understand that we didn't know. We got there, and the white team game, they did a 15-minute running clock for halves. They gave us 2 halves of a 15-minute running clock, and they didn't tell us. And so we parked the bus, got the kids off. The coaches took them and warmed them up, and of course, in the 2.5-hour bus ride, I got 57 phone calls or text messages. So finally stopped the bus. I have to go through all my messages and make sure everything's going okay at home and whatever. And I walk out to the game, and I think it's the end of the first quarter, and it's halftime. And I'm like, what are we doing? And they're like, well, we only played a 15. And, of course, I didn't know we were going to do that and whatever. And so, long story short, they had done that last year in their district whenever they played 4 games at home on the same night. But when you play 3 games in a night, you play a regular game and you play a regular clock. And the head coach and I had talked about that, but that didn't get communicated to their middle school coordinator, and so he was thinking that he was doing it the way he had done it the previous year. And so that goes to show you how you got to communicate, because those kids didn't get to play, but as long as they needed to. And when you drive 2.5 hours, you'd like to play more than 30 minutes of a running clock. Exactly. I mean, it's like, we would like to see them play a 7-minute quarter, an 8-minute quarter, or whatever, but that didn't happen. And the good news is, we took it out on them, so we took it to them.
There you go.
And we actually scored a 2-point conversion on the last play of the game. So because we had scored the touchdown, and they went ahead, and the clock was ticking, and we snapped it right at 1, and we scored a 2-point conversion on to go up 20-0. So, and then our 8th grade red team followed that up with our only loss of the night, and they played really well. They battled Gonzales really well. They just made a few critical mistakes that cost them the game. They made a few big mistakes when Gonzales was on a drive, and so they gave up a touchdown. And then they kind of snowballed the next couple of series, had some turnovers and made some critical mistakes, and were able to let Gonzales get up on them. And then they came back and battled in the second half and tried to get back in it, but it was kind of too little too late. And so hopefully they'll learn from that and move on. And then our JV, back and forth, I never thought I'd say this ever. We had 6 turnovers on the JV, and we won the game.
That's unusual.
So
That's unusual.
Coach Gibbs texted me that last night when they were leaving, and I was like,
wow.
What?
Yeah.
You had 6 turnovers and you won. So you think, okay, if we don't turn the ball over, we probably beat them by 50 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we not turn the ball over? That'd be cool. But they played really well. Those kids battled, and it was back and forth, and it came down to the very last play of the game. It was 20-18 was the final, I think, and I think they had gone up 18-12 in the fourth quarter, and we scored to make it 18-18. We went for 2, and we got it, and then they're marching down the field, and we get a big penalty that it's like, I don't know, it's like 3rd or 4th down on the 30-yard line. We get a big penalty, moves them inside the 15-yard line, and the last play of the game, they're running on their sideline, and of course, when you play in a place like Gonzales, you always think that the officials are homers, right? Because our guys are, like our officials, when we play at home, they all live here and they work here, and they have kids in our program and stuff like that. So you always think you're getting homered when you go somewhere, and so we just know they're going to call it a touchdown, and they say that he stepped out of bounds on the 1-yard line, and that ended the game. We won 20-18. So that was a big thing. And then at home last night, normally I'm at home, so I get to see what happens. And so the 7th grade played at home. Both 7th grade teams won, and they won big. They 20, 30 something to 7 or whatever, big scores. And then the freshman team won with a smaller score differential, but could have been a bigger score. I think we dropped 2 touchdown passes. We were going in at halftime, and we didn't get in before the clock ran out, and so we could have won by 2 or 3 more touchdowns, but I think we ended up winning by 1. So it was a great night to be a Billy.
That's what I was going to say.
When you
Good
go
night.
5-1 on your first outing and 3-1 in your first outing at middle school. Shout out to Coach Langford, Coach Cinquetti, Coach Lott, Coach Smith. I know I'm going to forget one, dadgummit, and Coach Rivera. Those are our middle school coaches, and just. It's just cool to see us doing what we do on all levels. I heard it happened here. I heard it happened there. We're throwing the ball. We're lining up on our offense. We're running our plays. I listened to Coach Lott and Coach Smith talk on the bus ride home, and when we were on the sideline, and they're talking about our offense and our terminology, and they're happy that they got an Aggie and they scored on this play. That's one of our formations, and or that's one of our deals, and so. You know, it's just cool to hear them excited about seeing what happens. And shout out to Coach Lott. He got his first win. You know, he's a rookie coach, so it's his first win on his team.
Right,
and so
right.
I told him, I said, you know, if I would have been smart, I would have had all those little 8th graders Gatorade bath you for your first win. But anyway, and so you know, it's a good night, and it was fun to see that happening, and it's so good to be back to normal and as normal as possible. And I think everything went well at home. Christy and I were in contact about people getting in, and there, you know, sometimes there's some confusion. So we had some people from Gonzales who bought their ticket on the Gonzales website for the game at Gonzales, but their kid was playing on the team that was playing here. so they showed up with a mobile QR for the game in Gonzales. And so, you know, you got to work through some of those things because this is all new for everybody. And so, and then on the other end, I was there with Coach Waldy, their head coach, and they were having some of the same problems. They had some people we had some people that had bought the ticket here thinking it would get them in there. And so that's all part of the learning curve of this deal.
I think each week it's starting to feel a little bit more normal each week, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
You go into that
It
first
is.
week, the uncertainties and things like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we go into week 3.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it. The NFL played last night.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Chiefs
Yep.
and the Texans played last night, right? I think the Chiefs won.
Yes,
probably.
34-20.
So that's normal, and
Right.
and THSCA and UIL and TGCA, the coaching associations, you know, they've promoted what's going on, and I think there was something that came out this week that there's been 1,000 football games played, and no COVID outbreaks from those gatherings
Amen
and stuff.
to
So,
that.
you know,
Amen to that,
you know,
baby.
certainly you don't want to jinx yourself or you know, whatever.
Right.
But you know, we've proven that we can do normal and be safe, and so you know, we're going to keep at it. We're going to be diligent. We're going to
And up to 4A led the way.
Yeah, no question. I mean,
literally.
Well, and I said that from the beginning, going all the way back to Speed and Strength Camp. You know, what an honor it is, what a blessing it is that we get to be the first people to do it. And so, you know, we've got to do it right. We've talked to our coaches about it. We've talked, you know, as staffs about we've got to do it right. We've got to make sure we do the protocols. We've got to do all the things they're asking us to do so that we can prove that this can be done. And 6A started on Monday. You mentioned it, 5A and 6A started on Monday with their practices. So shout outs to them. You know, it was kind of cool that some of those guys that I know were texting us as we were doing it, you know, and they're watching it. And you know, the reality is, most of the population pays attention to 5A and 6A. So it was really cool that 4A and below got to get some of that attention that we don't normally get, right? And so it was cool that, you know, I don't recall a game that we've played in Fredericksburg that Matt Stepp from Dave Campbell's Texas Football has been at one of our games, because he's normally at a big 5A game or a big 6A game. And so he was at our game in Monaghan. So, you know, it's kind of cool to have that kind of attention on us and the responsibility of that. You know, we've got to do it right. And I think we have. I'm you know, really proud of our staff and our kids and our fans and our community and our administration. I mean, we're doing it right.
I want to shout out to all the teachers out there,
Yeah,
and,
no
and
question.
just all the administrators, everybody at the schools. I can't stress enough what an epic job, what a stellar job the teachers are doing.
They are.
And they deserve
They really
a
do.
big round of applause. I mean, they have, like you said, from the beginning of all this, they had a 24-hour window to get things figured out as far as the classes and how. But
Yeah, it's
from
crazy.
then till now, and I
Yeah.
mean, they're just working their tails off, and they deserve
They
just
do.
a big
They do.
group hug.
And they certainly do, and they deserve grace and they deserve patience because their whole world changed, and it's continuing to change. It's changing. I mean, we're under these protocols where if there's a positive test in a classroom, that teacher might be gone for 14 days or whatever. I mean, and so it's a fluid environment, and they're working so hard, and they deserve all our patience and all our grace and all our thanks, and they certainly deserve more money because
right.
I mean, we don't put enough money into paying teachers anyway. So, but they're doing it, and they're doing it right, and they're getting after it. And I said in the paper this week that I appreciate our community for being part of the solution rather than the problem. And human nature, as I've said twice or three times today, is sinful, right? It's negative. That's Satan poking at us, right? Saying, look over here, look how bad this is. And so human nature says, let's find all the things that teachers are doing wrong and let's gripe and complain about that. And I would challenge everybody in our community, roll up your sleeves, wash your hands, sanitize your hands, and come to work and see what those teachers are doing and figure out how hard they're working because I mean, this happens. This happened this week. We have a kid who gets sent home for fever, and he's quarantined for 14 days. And now he's a remote learner. Yet that teacher had been teaching him face-to-face up until that day, and now that teacher has to retool the things she's doing for that kid so that, and yeah, it's just crazy. It's a crazy, crazy world we're in, and
we're kind of rolling with the punches.
Yeah, no
right?
doubt, no doubt, and they're handling it, and that's that's the lesson we want to teach kids in athletics and in ag and in band and in all the extracurriculars. We want to teach them those soft skills of being able to handle adversity and how to react to things that happen. And there couldn't be a better group of adults that have shown them that than the teachers right now. So. Definitely. I got on my soapbox.
No, I love it. Love it.
I did that 2 weeks ago, but I want to make sure that people are hearing that because they're doing it for sure.
All right, getting ready for homecoming.
Yeah.
Homecoming tonight. Lots of
No doubt.
festivities, lots of action.
No doubt.
Haven't played Gonzalez in a while. We're going to talk about the Apaches when we come back.
Be the envy of the neighborhood with the lush, thriving lawn from All Around Irrigation, LLC. We are dedicated to providing friendly, professional service to leave you with outstanding results. We have built a reputation for getting the job done right. We offer a number of services, including land clearing, development, rain collection, drainage, and of course, landscaping irrigation. The grass can be greener on your side when you call All Around Irrigation, LLC today.
Hey volleyball fans, Joseph Financial Partners is here to support the Battling Billies and to help you with all of your financial goals. Whether it's saving for retirement, college savings, or even life insurance or long-term care, we've got your back. Let us serve up an appointment with you, then dig into your finances, goals, and dreams. Hey, and then we can assist and set a plan in motion and spike your goals to score. Success takes teamwork, so call Joseph Financial Partners at 830-997-4763 or check us out online at josephfinancialpartners.com. Securities are offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA/SIPC.
ValueMed Pharmacy is Fredericksburg's pharmacy. By putting our customers first, we've earned a sterling reputation as the premier provider in town. With free home delivery, convenient location, and a speedy drive-up window, getting your medications has never been easier. ValueMed offers competitive pricing and accepts most prescription insurance. We're located at 707 North Llano Street, or give us a call at 830-997-8155. Come see why ValueMed Pharmacy truly is Fredericksburg's pharmacy.
Gaddy's Pizza in Fredericksburg is a huge supporter of Battling Billy sports, students, and teachers. In fact, Gaddy's offers in town. Enjoy the game room. Kids of all ages love it. Gaddy's takes pizza seriously. 2931 Highway 16 South in Fredericksburg. Billy Pride Iberales.
And we're back. Coffee with Coach
We are.
live at Barefoot, 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. Coach Lance Moffet, JD Rose with you here, and Gonzalez in town tonight, homecoming.
Yep.
How do the Apaches look this year,
Homecoming.
Coach? What do they got going on?
You know, they're exceptional. We played them 9 times, haven't played them since 2013.
Been a while, huh? Yeah.
It's been a while. You know, the newspaper folks asked me this week, you know, is there a revenge factor, a grudge factor, whatever. Unfortunately, the kids that are on this team were in elementary school when we played them in 2013, so they probably don't remember. They probably do, because that was one of the most miserable football games that we have participated in, and we lost. I believe it was 36 degrees and constant rain. We played at Gupton Stadium in Leander ISD. It was a second-round playoff game, and we lost, I think, 19-12 or 19-14 or something. It was a close game. We should have won the game. We should have continued on to the, probably the regional finals that year. That was an exceptional team. And so certainly for me and the coaches that were on that sideline, there's a factor. The kids probably don't know the difference, and they've changed completely. They have a whole new coaching staff and a whole new head coach and a whole new program, and so they are an exceptional football team. They're the best team we played this year for sure. And Coach Mike Waldy's their head coach. He's been the head coach at Dangerfield. He was the OC at Pearland. He's got an exceptional career. He knows how to do it. He does it right. They execute. They get after it. They're playing hard. They're notably young. I think they have 11 sophomores starting.
Oh, wow.
From an exceptional.
They are young.
And to speak to that, from an exceptional freshman class that in 2019 normal summer, those 11 sophomores that are starting were on their 7-on-7 team as freshmen, and they beat us in 7-on-7 at the Wimberley tournament. And so I was a little nervous about the fact that we had talked about playing each other. We looked at a game that we could replace with Bastrop Cedar Creek just because they're 5A and the distance is about the same. At first I thought about it for travel. I couldn't find anybody any closer. So it's actually the same distance as it was to Bastrop Cedar Creek. So last night and tonight is not any different than what it's been the last 2 years when we played Bastrop Cedar Creek. But it is different in that they're our classification. They're 4A. They've dropped down to Division II, but in Division I last year, they had an exceptional run through district, in the district with Bernie and Lavernia, and they did a really good job. And so they look good. They play well. They're coached well. They do a lot of different things, and they get after it. So it's certainly going to be a challenge for us to play better.
What offense do they run?
Yeah, so that's the thing that's interesting. We typically talk about a team that's in the spread, or a team that's in the slot T, or a team that's in a multiple option type offense.
They bring their tight ends in, or do
they kind of do a combination of the two.
Yeah.
And so I think they. And they're exceptional at it. Their offensive coordinator does a really good job, and in coaching it goes against kind of all of your normal things you think, in that you would think that you can't do both, but they do, and they do it well. They jump into what looks like a slot T, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, backs going different directions, linemen coming off hard, creating space and pushing hard, and the ball, who knows where the ball is, and everybody has to fit a gap. And then the next play they'll be in shotgun, and they'll have receivers spread out wide, and they'll still do those same principles up front, but they jump in and out of it pretty good. So it creates some problems for you on defense, because you have to be able to identify what they're going to be in and be able to adjust to what they're bringing on the next play. And it might be the next play rather than the next series, or something that you can identify. So Coach Wilder and the staff have done a real good job this week of adjusting to all the different things they do. And I think the kids, I'll give him credit that the last couple of years, we've done a really good job against the slot T, and I think it's because of the way he's evolved, the way we adjust on defense to playing them, and the biggest factor in it is the communication. The kids talking to each other about what the other team's doing. That's half the battle in football, is if the 11 guys on your side know what they're going to do, your chances of being successful go way up. And so with a slot T, there's a lot of cues and markers that you can key in on film that'll tell you, and if your kids are willing to communicate it to each other, because we can't be out there. We see it. I mean, we know. I don't remember in my entire 28 years, maybe I had been on a headset the whole time, but I don't ever remember being on a headset in a game when we don't know which play is about to happen, because the coaches have watched so much film, and so, but it doesn't matter if we know,
Right.
Because I'm not fixing to make a tackle, and Coach Wilder's not fixing to make a tackle. So the way he's evolved our defense to communicate that, he's kept it really simple in regard to how we line up to it, and let us be really aggressive in how we play it and how we react to it. And this year in particular, this group has been communicating really well this week. So, and they're going to have to communicate well tonight to know what they're going to be in and what they're expecting and what's going to happen.
And how does their defense line up against our offense?
Yeah, and so defense is interesting. They're multiple as well. I think they're a little more predictable on defense. You know, they want to be in man coverage. They're typically going to be in an odd front, which we've seen two even fronts. Odd or even front means you got four down linemen most plays. Odd front means you've got three. Sometimes you'll have four because one of the outside guys will come down, but typically in an odd front you have 3 or 5 down linemen, and those 2 outside down linemen in an odd front will be off the line or on the line and can be in coverage. They're kind of hybrid players. But they're going to be in that odd front most of the time, and they're going to try to run a little bit of man free or man coverage, where they're going to try to, you know, when we motion, they'll bump their secondary over, so they'll change responsibilities. And so I think they're a little more predictable on defense than they are on offense, for sure. But that doesn't diminish the quality of their play. They're still exceptional. They get after. They play hard. That's the thing I've noticed about Coach Waldy. Just in the time I've known him, his kids play hard. He has a way of getting them to play exceptionally hard, and that's in coaching. Certainly, I had nothing to do with it, but in Fredericksburg, our kids are known to play hard. They were known to play hard before I got here, with Coach Herbert and with Coach Klett and with Coach Talkington and all the way back to Coach Wicker, and I can go through the list of all the coaches in Fredericksburg. But our kids are known for playing hard, and that's kind of a, you know, that's a badge of honor in coaching.
Yeah,
is that you can get your kids to play hard, and so Coach Waldy certainly has that, and these kids play hard, and so that's, you know, that's the biggest thing, is that they do good things, they execute well, and they play really hard. So those are going to create some challenges for us.
Well,
for
this
sure.
2020 team off to a great start, but what about the focus as far as homecoming, you know, the little sideshow distractions, if you will? How are they handling some of that stuff?
You know, well, I mean, they had a rehearsal yesterday, and I don't know if I even recognized it. It was probably because I was gone driving the bus with the 8th grade, but you know, normally those are things that I have to worry about, that, you know, make sure they're at rehearsal and make sure they know. And we've got some guys in the court, which we always do, and that's part of it, and we know. And you know, tonight's halftime will be a little bit longer, and we'll try to meet with those kids as soon as we get off the field and make the adjustments we need to, and then get them out there. And then I always like to let their teammates come out and see. We started this a couple years ago, mainly because Coach Wilder's daughter and my daughter were in the court, so we had to kind of adjust what we were doing. And then last year, Coach Huff's daughter. And so, you know, when your family gets involved, that stuff becomes a little more important to you. And then you realize that, hey, maybe we need to make sure it's important to all these kids. And so we try to get out there when they announce who it is, so that their teammates can see them be announced or whatever. And that was kind of cool last year, and hopefully it'll be the same this year. And then we also try to pay a little respect to the band. They typically
man, it was nice to see the band last
it
week.
was awesome, man. It was so cool to
and
have
the
the
Red
noise.
Hots did a great job as well.
The Red Hots were good. The cheer group, I'll shout out to Coach Jody Wilder and Coach Michelle Aguirre for our cheer squad. A lot of people may or may not know this, but they have become part of athletics now. They're one of our athletic teams now, and we oversee cheer, and I couldn't be more pleased with what they're doing. The spirit, the way they look, they look good. They do. I mean, it's awesome. They're doing a great job. So, best part about the band is that nobody can hear me yelling at the referees. We actually have noise going on so that coaches can actually do our job. So, but it was really good to have that going, and you know, we'll pay a little respect to them. We'll after we get done with the game, we'll sit out there and watch them do their performance, because I think, and I'm not sure if they are or not, because they just started working on their marching performance this week. I think is when they got their music and all the stuff they're supposed to do. So
Good
anyway,
stuff.
Cool, yeah, yep.
Well, let's take a look at Billy Nation as a whole here. How are the other sports doing, fall sports?
You know, exceptional. I mean, they always do. Volleyball is playing Llano. You already mentioned that tonight. They were off Tuesday night. That was kind of their rotation in the.
Didn't they have the team dinner? I think
in the
Tuesday
off
night.
week, they had a team dinner Tuesday night, and Coach Raymer, just like all of us, is always working on building that family attitude, and that's what team dinner is all about. That's what any kind of togetherness we can have. They're rising. They're getting ready to get ready for district just like all of us, and they're improving every minute. And then team tennis, Coach King's got those guys going. I think they won a couple more JV matches and another varsity match since the last time we met, and they're rolling along, taking care of their business as well. The weather always hinders them. They don't typically play when it's been raining, so praise be to God for the rain, but kind of puts a damper on team tennis. And then cross country, went to Harper yesterday and excelled. I already mentioned Cade Yinsky. I looked at the results that Coach Aldridge sent out, and our boys were, like all our top 5 boys were in the top 7 of the whole thing. Like 5 of the top 7 were our guys. And then our girls were, we had one that was really close to the top, and then we were a little further scattered out, but our times are improving, and that, that's the thing with cross country. I say every year is that Coach Aldridge does such an exceptional job of monitoring their times from one week to the next, and making sure that they're on their progression like they're supposed to be, because it's all about going to the district meet and being able to run the time that you need to run so that you can get the place you need to get so that our team can advance. And that's the cool thing that he does with our cross country team. So yeah, it's great to be in Billy Nation, and I, we've already talked about all the teachers and stuff, but we had a big spirit walk today. First time we attempted something semblance of a pep rally type situation. We're going to move to that. I mentioned that the cheer group is now part of athletics, and so I get to work with those coaches, and we've put in lots of hours trying to figure out how we're going to get back to as much as normal as possible when we start district, which will be in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks actually from tonight, because we have an open week in there too. No, it'll be 4 weeks. We'll start having pep rallies, and for right now, unless the governor changes any of the protocols or orders, we're going to have the pep rallies in the stadium just like we used to have them in the gym.
Oh, there you go.
So we're just going to take the pep rally format, and we know that the capacity of the stadium is 1,900, and we know that there's 1,000 kids in the high school, and we know that even with the parents and everybody that normally comes to the pep rally, we'll still be under capacity, and we'll spread the kids out just like we have to normally. So we'll just take that whole operation that used to go on in that gym and was really loud and all that, and just kind of make it into a bigger expanse.
That'll work.
So we're going to start that, and then today the Spirit Walk was awesome. The shout out to the drum line. They got everybody rocking this morning and walked through the school, and so it was cool. It was cool to have some normal stuff going on. So.
Billy Pride, Iberales.
No doubt.
Overall.
No doubt.
Overall.
So today's Spirit Day, right? Everybody wears red and white, and then this goes back to Iberales. We've talked about that before. Today's Billy Pride overall for sure. And something cool we're doing this year. We call it the German Haka. Coach Timms, he's big and loud and boisterous and all that stuff, and so he gets the kids. They shout Eber Alles Alter Stolz, Eber Alles Alter Stolz, and that's kind of how we break or get fired up or whatever. And it's been really cool to do that and see that. And so and then I want to shout out team dinner. This week we had team dinner at Backwoods Barbecue. Those guys do an amazing job, and they've supported us from the moment they got here. We appreciate them. They do a super job with that team dinner. They donate their time and they donate their efforts to help us have a big team dinner over at Backwoods, and we appreciate them for doing that. And then a couple weeks ago we had one at Airport Diner, and it's a similar operation where they donate their time and they donate the ability for us to have a team dinner at their place, and it's really cool. And our moms, Kim Zuberbuehler's done a great job of getting all that organized, and so shout out to them for what they're doing. And then I want to give one more shout out to Hardman Signs. Much ado about our scoreboard, but we got 3 new scoreboard sponsors, actually 4: the Educational Foundation, Laney Construction, Chicken Express has come on with a new video board in the gym.
Yeah,
you guys have been in there.
That's nice.
Chicken Express has kind of become our anchor sponsor for the gym. They're going to help us pay for that video board, and they're also providing the boxed meals in the concession stand this year. We have to have pre-packaged meals. Like we can't have like a buffet because of the spread of germs, and so they're helping us provide those prepackaged meals. They're providing, certainly Billy Boosters are paying for them, some of them, but they're providing a whole bunch for us, and so they came on as a big sponsor, and we were kind of in a pickle last week ahead of the first home game in that our sponsors' signs hadn't been changed. And Max Hardman's parents happen to own a sign company in Houston. Tells you how smart I am. I've known them for 2 years and I didn't know that. So, but they figured out that they could help us, and so they were able to get our sponsors put up on the board temporarily for last week's game. And now today they were up there at 6 a.m. working on it, and so they're going to be permanently fixed today, so that all of our anchor, premier, and founding sponsors are going to be all up to where they're supposed to be for a normal year. So I just want to thank them and shout out to them for helping us out.
That's why living in Fredericksburg is so awesome, man.
It
so
is,
many great
it
people
is.
in this community. That
You know, and it's so cool. The Hardmans moved here a year and a half ago, last summer or whatever. And that's the cool thing. I think that likens to our family. You know, you're welcomed here, and then you become part of the community.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool. You know, you're not an outsider, you're not an Auslander or whatever. You're welcomed into the community, and you become part of the community, especially when you raise your kids here. And you know, this is my kid's home. You know, and so I mean, you know, it's just a cool deal that we welcome people like that.
You
So,
bet.
anyway.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, as we wrap up here, do we have any questions from the audience, and or do you have
Here we
any?
go.
Oh, we got a question.
Put me on the hot seat.
You go back to the Apaches.
Yes, sir.
How's their specialty?
That's a great question. That's a good
question.
question.
Yeah.
Exceptional. If you watch their film, the opening play of their season, they played El Campo and they gave up a touchdown on kickoff. So they might not agree with me when I say they're exceptional, but they have certainly improved. They played a really good team. El Campo, as we know, we played in the playoffs last year. Their running back last year was a freshman, had already verbally committed to Alabama, and so he's an exceptional player. He ran the opening kickoff against Gonzalez back. So that's the thing when you see Gonzalez, is that their scores and their record are not reflective of who they are. They played a really good football team the first week and got beat. Burnett is a good football team as well. They lost a close game to them last week. So they're good on special teams. They're going to mix it up, and you know, we're going to have to be solid in that game as well. They do some trickery on their extra points. They do a little bit of the swinging gate. And so if you don't line up to that properly, so we had to spend some time working on that this week, and I think we'll be ready for it. But again, just like they do on offense and defense, they play hard, and so you've got to be ready. If you're not ready, then they're going to take advantage of you because you're not ready to go. So great question.
Yeah, good question.
Appreciate it, yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, that's going to do it, Coach.
That's
Homecoming
it, man.
tonight.
Let's do it.
And
let's get it done. No
so
bad
now
weather
our
tonight.
triple header will be a doubleheader.
Doubleheader.
We got volleyball against Llano, and then big football game tonight with King and Cayman and their stellar play-by-play. And
You know, shout out
of course,
to
our
Paige.
stellar Billy's.live folks got Caleb Dale here.
Stonewall Elementary says good luck.
Awesome. Thank you. Stonewall
okay.
Elementary.
Oh, they got a
commenting
little-
good luck. That's awesome. Glad they're watching that.
And Paige Finley there in the control room.
You know, want to shout out to Paige. I never got a number of how many people watched last week, but I know we were near 7,000 the first week or whatever. But it's been really cool to also work with Paige and be able to share the link with all of our stakeholders, our parents that are there at the game, our coaches that are working the game, our players that are playing the game. It's really cool for us to be able to go home on the weekend and watch the game again, and not have to watch it in coach mode, right? I mean, I get to sit in my recliner and watch a football game, and it's us, and it's really cool. And
Isn't that awesome?
King and Cayman are doing a great job, and you know, they know the kids. That's the cool thing, is that they talk about this kid in class and that kid in class, and so it's a really personal deal. And
I got a suggestion. If
Yeah.
folks are going to obviously want to watch the streams from the out-of-town schools, do what I used to do when I watched the Cowboys: turn down the sound on the TV and turn up
and listen to the radio,
TexasRadio.net for the audio.
Well, and that's a good thing that people need to know, is that, you know, Billy's.live agreed to do the Monahans game because it was a neutral site game.
Right.
But because of the way the UIL set this up, with the COVID restrictions, they're only going to allow one broadcast team on a home site. So the home site is responsible. So when we play away, I'm going to have to tell you, you're exactly right. You're going to want to
The
turn
radio
their
side will
volume
still-
down and listen to TexasRadio.net.
Yeah, good king and came in that way.
Because we don't know what their quality is going to be like, and some of them have never done this. You know, we got a 2-year jump on this when you guys started broadcasting the softball games for parents who couldn't travel to the softball game on Paige's phone.
Well, that's how all this. That's basically
that's how all this started. I remember us going through that whole diatribe about how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that, and making sure we follow all the UIL rules and all that. So we've got a 1.5 year jump on doing this the right way.
That's right.
And people who have watched it have commented on how quality it is, and so I think that's a testament to you guys and the hard work you do. So we appreciate it.
Hats off to everybody there, on the camera crew and the sound crew and everybody. Well, God bless you, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate
Coach
all you're
Lance
doing.
Moffet, everybody.
Thanks.
Coffee with Coach here at Barefoot, 108 East Main, Fredericksburg. We appreciate
Java Ranch with the coffee.
Java Ranch, coffee and muffins, and we appreciate Haley. And
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
they let us come in last night and set a few things up during working hours late last night so we could speed things up today. So that's awesome. We appreciate that.
Super.
God bless you, folks. Go Billies!
This year, yeah!